That's the point.
But capitalism is what destroys everything. It's the fact that New York City was a place that it was so unique and such a diverse place, and we've allowed it to become a place of gentrification where all the rents have been jacked up, and even if you're making a good amount of money, you're still struggling. You know, you shouldn't have a master's degree and still struggle. But this, capitalism is what's destroyed the American dream.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because that was basically my whole argument. Really, at the end of the day, capitalism about how we got a certain group of people, a small group of people, meaning that really controls the wealth. So how is that shared equally, where people are able to live that American dream, where you have these wealthy people who hoards basically the majority of the wealth, and there's not enough money to go around. And that was my argument about the American dream. And I mean, the reality is this: the most hardest working people are the most poorest people, and that's just a fact across the world. The most hardest working people, they're the poorest. But they work their asses off every single day. They do what they can, and I mean, I see it day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? And it's very unfortunate that as much harder work they put in, it just doesn't even equate of what's given back to them. And I mean, again, when it comes to capitalism, as you stated already, it definitely gets in the way of you really living your fullest potential, because money dictates everything about your life. It dictates how well educated you're going to be when it comes to going to school, college. It's going to definitely dictate about your health care, if you can really afford what plan. You know what I'm saying? It dictates your diet, or what type of food can you eat. Where if you're really poor, you can't resort to eating really healthy food, because we all know that healthy food, when it comes to eating, the basic nutrition is very expensive. You know what I'm saying? So money really dictates as far as your well-being as a human being, and that's something that I always think about. And to know that we have so much resources in the world, but yet we still stuck on this ideology about money, where there's not enough money to go around, but yet we have enough food, we have enough resources to go around, but yet because people don't have the buying power to have access to those certain things, they're not really able to fulfill their well-being. And that's what's happening in the world, across the world, not only just in America, but just all across the world, man. And that's just the harsh reality of what it really is. And that's what I mean by knowing the system, knowing about what is economics, how economic basically runs this country, and how it definitely deprives a lot of people, no matter how hard you work, because it's mathematically impossible for every single last person in this country to be well off, because there's not enough money for everybody to be well off.
Well, I would have to disagree with you on that. It's not that there's not enough money. It's that there's too many people controlling most of it.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So, like, if you the biggest thing to me, Jay, is not, and it doesn't matter. The monetary system itself is not the problem. What's the problem is the power and greed. So, even if you take away the monetary system and you have a distribution of the wealth or the resources of the world, you still got to have people in charge of it. You still got to have people in charge of it.
You're right.
So now, if you have one person in charge of the resources of the world, that person is going to get corrupted by it, because now he knows that I can control certain aspects of everything. It's the power and the greed. And until we as a society get over that petty emotion, it's always going to be fucked up.
I mean, the quote is, who controls the money controls the world. And that's just the bottom line. That's just the reality.
And as long as there's power and greed, Jay, it doesn't matter what system you put in place.
And especially when we understand the banking system, because many Americans don't even understand that our money comes from a private bank. Most people actually think our money comes from the government, which is not the government. The Federal Reserve banking system is a privately owned bank that could actually create money out of thin air. They could print all the money they want and just basically print as much as they want, and then we got to pay that money back to them with interest, which is mathematically impossible when every dollar that's in circulation has to be paid back to the bank. This is why this whole, United States in debt, that's all an illusion. It's not even a reality, because how can we be in debt when we can't even pay it back? It's impossible, because every dollar, again, comes from a private bank. But it's also educating yourself about the system, how money works, things that really don't even teach you in schools. I mean, it's just harsh reality. I mean, I take the emphasis teacher to my students because this is something that people need to know. People really need to know where our money is coming from, how it's created, and how it's basically shared. And I mean, again, you made a very valid point. You got a group of people who really controls the wealth, and it becomes very difficult for people to really live their fullest potential, man. And I mean, this is why we get stuck paying bills and just living day by day, check by check. Not because, you know what I'm saying, you haven't worked hard enough, but because of the system has been so corrupted and fixed, and they are not able to have access to certain things because they lack the money. And that's what has to change, you know what I'm saying? This is why I'm so for at least the UBI. I think the UBI is a phenomenal idea, but it's been talked about for years already. I mean, obviously, Martin Luther King spoke about it. Right before he got assassinated, he was trying to pass a bill because he understood the economic structure of this country. He said the only way we can end poverty is by giving people the basic guaranteed income. People have to have access to the basic necessities without having any ties to, putting themselves up for labor. It should be something that should be granted to them no matter what. And I strongly believe that,
But, I completely agree with the UBI. I think it's a great idea, but there's so many problems that I see coming with that. It's like welfare, or like when you stated on the chat about minimum wage.
Yeah.
Now, there was a fight for minimum wage, but what was the counter to the minimum wage? Inflation. They inflated the economy so much to the point where minimum wage didn't matter. Now, if minimum wage would have went through with inflation, minimum wage should be $21 an hour right now. But it's just starting to get to 15 right now, and even with $15 an hour, it was a fight. Mm-hmm. Now with the UBI, yes, you give somebody an access to a minimum requirement. Now those people are gonna say, you know what? I don't want to work today. I got money coming in. And then what happens is that where's that UBI coming from? From the taxes of the working people. So now if I know, me personally, if I had $100 or $200 coming to me, and I'm working a 5-day work week, I'm going to be like, you know what? I don't want to work today. Fuck it. So then people can't be trusted to work hard in anything that they do. Is always going to be somebody who's going to take advantage of it.
I think I'll say this. I feel safer me walking outside knowing that people's basic necessities are met. Where I don't have being fear of something may happen to me because someone's been so mentally damaged because of the economic situation. You know what I'm saying? Where, I mean, this is why we have all these, these horrific acts happening in this country. Because people don't understand. People are going through a lot of socioeconomic stress. You know what I mean? Especially if you can't even feed your family. You got kids that are starving. You can't even pay your rent. Now you got to live out in the streets. These are circumstances that put you in situations that make you go postal and make you go crazy. And, I mean, puts me in a position where now I got to watch my back. Because the type of society we're living in today. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, man, they're going through a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. And the majority is because of their socioeconomic position. You know what I'm saying? This is why, at least putting that in place will definitely relieve a lot of these problems that we're having today. It is not a cure. It is not to, make things, because nothing's perfect. You know what I'm saying? But at least it could relieve a lot of these problems that we're having today in this country. And the argument about, people won't work and this, that, and the third, I think people will work more knowing that they got something already established, but yet they're able to accomplish more now because now they don't have to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to worry about making ends meet the way they used to. And actually make them really go forward with what they really want to follow their dreams. Because, I mean, how many people really hate their jobs? They have to work because they have to earn a living. But the majority of people in this country hate their jobs. But they have to do it. They have to work. They have to work. But at least establishing some sort of income guaranteed could also allow people to really chase their dreams, to really fulfill that, quote unquote American dream. And this is why, again, that at least will relieve some of the problems we're having today in this country. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on it, man. You know what I mean? So you want to take a short recess break before we continue, or you guys want to?
How much we in? Well, I want to say this though. I think UBI is a great idea, but I also think that necessities. Think about the necessities, right? You got rent, you got food.
Yeah.
If those basic necessities are met, we'll be fine.
I mean,
You know?
it relieve you from a lot of other
Yeah.
problems. You know
So
what I'm
I
saying? That
mean,
definitely
I get that not
helps you
everybody
out.
can live in posh living environments, but I think your apartment should be dictated towards what you can afford. You know, instead of saying, okay, you know, you gotta work, you gotta live here, it's $1,600 a rent, but you can't afford that. You should be able to pay your rent to what you can afford.
Yeah, and I think it's violent too. Now that you bringing that up, I think it's violent when you have so much. Say for instance, having a mansion with a backyard. Like, I mean, it goes about I don't know how
ridiculous.
many.
It's ridiculous.
I think it's being violent because you're taking away so much space. You're taking away so much resources that could be utilized for other people. You know what I'm saying? But again, we live in this world that you want to define your success by basically how you live your lavish life. And that's really because of insecurity, because only a person who's really insecure will do this kind of things.